Hey, Blind Impact listeners. Look, I have to know, how many of you have trouble sleeping? Mind racing all the time, just can't seem to get situated in bed just right. Covers will never become comfortable enough. Well, I've got a possible solution for you. Over at the May We Rest YouTube channel, they've got it all, giving you the chance to meditate on the Word of God each night and teaching you the Word of God. And if you should happen to get a good night's rest and sleep while you listen, well then, hey, we've won, right? So go head on over to YouTube at the May We Rest YouTube channel and check out and see what those guys over there are doing. It's absolutely been something that I have thoroughly enjoyed. It gives you an opportunity to be able to wind down. You get to become closer to the Lord, and it just gives you an opportunity just to shut the rest of the world out. So head on over to YouTube and check out the May We Rest YouTube channel. Thank you, guys. Have you ever been so impacted by something that it leaves no doubt as to what helped shape you? Welcome to The Blind Impact, a podcast where we talk about and uncover those moments. Some funny, some sad, but it's not always tragic. I hope you'll stay for a while. Okay. Hey, MJ, are you on?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. What about yourself?
I'm doing awesome too. Awesome too. Marcarius? Or do you want
Marcarius.
to go by MJ?
MJ is easier.
Okay, so we're gonna say MJ. So MJ, is there anything that you'd like for us to know about you a little bit? You want to tell about yourself? Some things you might have accomplished in life.
Uh, ooh,
Yeah.
that's tough.
Is it really?
I mean, I like to feel like I do a lot of things. So anytime I small accomplishments,
Okay.
everything's big. I guess.
Sure. Sure.
Been to college. I finished college.
Okay.
Uh, I like highlighting on that sometimes just because it took a minute to do,
Yeah.
and I was not as focused as I needed to at times, but
It's
still
okay.
made it through.
That's okay. You
What
did.
they say, never would have made it. But nah, seriously, it's actually crazy because me and some friends were just having a conversation about that.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of based on like, could you be successful today without going to college, or even like just trying to get the degree all the way,
Oh,
like other
wow.
options and paths in life.
Okay.
And one of my homies, he was just like, one of the things that would be cool is if like he were like a counselor or something. He'd tell people or students in ready to graduate, just
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, instead of going straight off to school or military or going to get a cert right now, just take a year off and like kind of figure out your next steps. So
You
it's
know?
like just me looking back now from where I am,
Uh-huh.
it's just like, man, that does not sound bad.
Is that something that you think you would have considered doing had you known?
Nah, I still made my step. But I feel like that's a great option
Yeah.
because I know a lot of people that didn't like, I want to say didn't pan out, but just the fact that they didn't walk all the way through the school thing and they do
Oh.
other things now is just like, even now for me it's like, man, I could have did so many other things.
Oh. Wow.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, it's nothing like a good revelatory moment, right?
Oh yeah,
Hindsight. But I
good
don't.
old
I mean,
hindsight.
you're very young still, so there's
Hmm.
not. You have a lot of time to be able to do other things also. So don't let that be the cap or the end all be all. So they say, right?
Right,
So what do you think you would have? What would you have done had you taken
man.
off a year?
Then what would I have did? Honestly, I think I would have still went to school. Still was a cool getaway. I had gotten some stuff like right before I graduated, right after too. So it was like, let's get out the city for a bit.
Okay.
But it was pretty cool though. So I enjoyed my time. So I think I would have still made the same move.
Okay.
Probably would have chose a different major instead of like something in business. I would have did like law because now I see it as like, unless you do like a select few things, there's no point even go to school.
Yes, we don't want to push that message, but no, but no, I agree. Like there's
Yeah.
a lot of other avenues, but I just think just traditionally, like
Hmm.
that's what everybody's parents wanted them to do, right? That's what you
Right.
grew up seeing, and so it's one of those things where, If you didn't get that degree, you didn't go to college, at least make an effort to go to school, then
Yeah,
you were looked at a little differently. So I don't think you made a bad choice,
yeah,
right? Because that's an accomplishment. But then also, like you said, there's other avenues. So you can still take your
definitely,
degree and then do other things with it. You don't have to just settle on your business marketing degree or your IT degree or whatever. There's other avenues.
exactly.
So don't let that hold you back. Okay. So MJ, what's your story today?
Um, I've been racking my brain. I don't even know which one to tell.
You know what? If you what's the first one that comes to mind?
Uh, I guess just where I'm at.
Okay, in life.
Like right now, I guess where I've been driven to a bit more to say.
Okay.
Uh, so like I've been laid off like twice in the past 2 years, and it's like one of those crazy things because it's like, man, when you're getting laid off at a time like this, and then like say like right after Christmas,
Mhm.
right? That was the last one,
Mhm.
and then you kind of get into that job market, and it's like, man, I don't want to be here again,
Mhm.
but it's like, okay, so pretty much just like where the job market is today, especially right now, it's June. It's looking a little bit better. Summertime. A lot of people quit their jobs, but like coming out of that winter time, like in that last quarter ending,
Mm.
a lot of layoffs happened, a lot of downsizing for companies, and a lot of people lost their jobs. So even like me being affected by it, it's like it kind of pushes you back into a time where it's like, man, I gotta really hustle. I don't know how long I'm gonna be off
Mm.
this. I don't want to be on unemployment, government assistance type things, and if I do, I don't want to be there long. Like it's not even just like about a public perception on it. It's just like a internal feeling.
Sure.
It kind of make you feel less at times. So it's like you got to find ways to like really dig back, put your feet in the ground, and like really
Right.
hustle. And for me, that's just where it was. So now I got a job and everything again. With a good company and
Mhm.
everything. It's not exactly where I want to be in life, but at the same time, you got to do what you got to do.
You
Bills
do.
got to be paid.
Right.
I am young, as you did say. So it's like I don't even look at it as, oh yeah, I'm gonna be here forever. But
Right.
it's just a good footstep to go ahead and get what I want to get back to.
Right. And
So,
I think that that's a good mindset for you to be able to
mhm.
have, right? And it's not again, it's not an end all be all, right? And I'm not sure if I'm
Right.
saying that correctly, but there's opportunity out there for you. What do you when you experienced that layoff? What was it that you felt like, how did you feel about you?
Um, I didn't feel like it was like a. Honestly, it just kind of made me feel like, man, maybe I did make like a bad decision on like when I was touching on like I should have chose a different path, like degree plan. I
Okay.
mean degree path.
Uh huh.
That's why it's like it kind of pushed me to like after going to school and getting a degree in business, it makes you see that like at least from my outlook that
Okay.
I could have done anything in business and not needed to actually get the degree for it necessarily because the whole heart and soul of business is you in itself. So
Sure.
it's like if you have
Sure.
an idea for yourself, you can really read a book in a couple of days and just learn like the basics
Oh,
of how to run a business anyway.
wow. So
But
you don't think you should have like any sort of like natural ability to be able to do that? Like some sort of like inclination, like nothing. You can just go cold and just start a business and succeed.
I feel like, of course, naturally with anything you need knowledge.
Sure.
That's why I say like you can read a couple books, go on YouTube and learn it. But of course, there are a couple back entrances, or not back entrances, but like a couple baseline things you should
Sure.
want to know, like tax knowledge,
Sure.
forming a business, actual structures of a business, like differences between the S corp, C corp, all LLC, the whole nine. Because everybody's whole thought process go on LegalZoom or something, pay $300 for LLC, and oh, bet I'm ready. Nah,
No.
it
No.
starts with an idea every time. And then,
Yeah.
like today, when I say this, I mean like the way that a lot of women go today. They start up a business doing lash extensions, doing hair.
Sure.
I have an aunt that's been doing hair since like before I was born.
Oh wow. Okay. Wow.
She's done great in it. So it's like one of those things where it's like you see a passion for something that you have, it's see a need, feel a need all day. You can turn it into a business. You
Oh,
just
I
gotta read a
like
little bit.
that. See a need, fill a need.
Oh yeah, that came from robots. Shout out Disney.
Robots. Wow, see a need, feel a need. Yeah. Okay. I think that's something that we could all apply throughout life. Okay, so continue.
Yeah, so it's like that's just one of the things that I kind of look at now, where it's like, man, I know I like business because I started up doing like sneakers and things like that when I was back in high school. I
Oh
used
wow.
to paint them, clean them, fix them up, all types of stuff, trade, deal with sneaker conventions, all type of stuff.
Oh.
But my whole thought process from there, because I was working at a shoe store, was like, man, I want to open up a shoe store one day. When in reality, like now the way I think of things is like, man, I should have done something else. And I could have just did that easier on the side. Like I could have went and tried to be a lawyer or something, and practice business law,
Yeah,
like something that businesses need.
that's
Because
true.
every day is like anything that I've learned, like for instance, like with the pandemic,
Okay.
when that hit, that was something some of us at my age, I'm about to be 30 in a few
Mhm.
months. So somebody in my generation
Mhm.
wouldn't have like seen like firsthand knowledge, like say like when the recession hit, what was it, oh 05, oh
Oh,
06? Like
right.
we saw it, but we weren't at the working age to
Sure.
where we're getting affected as hard.
Mhm.
Like we get affected because we got to live through it, of course,
Right.
naturally. Like we see our people like, oh
Right.
man, I gotta pick up extra, I gotta do this, I gotta change up. But we never had the whole it's firsthand person knowledge of
Sure.
man, I'm really in the fire.
Mhm.
Because it's different when you get out of high school. For
Oh
instance, you
yeah.
cross the stage, boom.
Yeah, it's largely different. And I think like even with parents trying to prepare you
Mm-hmm.
for like worst case scenario, it's nothing like the actual experience, right?
Exactly.
And especially if you were that kid that just couldn't listen to what your parents were trying to tell
Oh
you
man.
because you knew it all, so it's like it's one of those things where I don't think anything really truly prepares you for life, right?
Right.
You just get kind of like you see like baseline examples, and we don't, you're not ready, but you know
Exactly.
enough. You get taught enough to be able to figure out how to kind of navigate through whatever that issue may be. But okay, so business law.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so given your age,
Mm-hmm.
it's not too late.
No, it's not. But where we're at in the climate of like student loans and stuff, I'm already paying some stuff
Yes.
back. I'm like,
Yes.
yeah. Anything else I do, I'm going the certification route or more so independent, because that's
See,
one of the things like I've learned like dealing with digital marketing.
okay, a lot
You
out there.
yeah, and you can really pick up business on your own, just
Hmm.
advertising for yourself, gaining clients here and there. It's really not that tough once you like get your feet in there and like you see how to do it. At least that's how the person I am. I'm super hands on. So
Sure.
once I see how to do something, oh yeah, it's all hands to go there.
So
Mm-hmm.
what do you so if you had to select one business, I guess, model,
Mm-hmm.
like what would you see yourself in business doing?
Okay, so like right now, I still do. All right, so when I was in college, about 2016, I was midway, about to finish up.
Hmm.
Um, and I came up with a business to do. It was supposed to be in like a digital magazine,
Oh, okay.
because I was a fan of like certain ones, sneaker mags,
Okay.
stuff like that, sports, everything I grew up on, and I
Okay.
was like, man, it'd be cool to kind of do this. This is literally right before the podcast, like kind of blew,
Yes.
and I was thinking print media, but digitally, of course.
Okay.
I had a partner at the time, but we was thinking, all right, let's take stuff like kind of close because we were doing like little camera coverage and stuff like events around campus, but then like it just shifted.
Oh,
So it went into clothes, and it was one of those things just kind of playing around with. I was still trying to finish school, so like, we'll see. But
right.
um, kind of toward the end, we started doing like harder stuff like t-shirts and things. And
Okay.
then when I actually got out here,
Okay. Yeah.
yep, I have on the shirt. It's called Threaded. Uh, but once I actually got out like to Dallas, because I just chose. It was between Houston and Dallas at the time. I didn't really have a full plan when I was graduating.
Okay.
But once I got out here, that's when I started doing clothes even harder. So then started linking up with some people, start being able to do like pop up shops and things like that. Help posting them, all
Okay.
type of stuff like that. So really on the side right now, I do clothes, but I actually had a talk with a guy once. He was actually a guy that actually does clothing manufacturing itself on the side,
Okay.
but I cannot remember the name of it, but forgive me, it's an organization that's similar like in stature and everything to the NAACP, but for the Latino community.
Okay.
I'll have to get the name again. I cannot
Okay.
remember it. I forgot this gentleman's name because it's literally been a few years now.
Okay.
But we had a nice talk, like, because I was trying to get some shirts made through him. This was before I started doing it myself, and he was just telling me about his business pretty much. So it was about the manufacturing business,
Okay.
essentially.
Okay.
So he had a nice little spot over off Harry Hines, and I want to say like Royal, but I have to check again.
Yes, that is those are intersections for sure.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
but I'll try to remember the name. But essentially, he taught me like how he goes and he reaches out to different businesses, like say not Walmart too big, probably like a Fiesta,
Okay.
O'Reilly's Auto Parts, different stores, companies like that, and actually hits them up to try and be their manufacturer.
Ooh, see, that's the loophole,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep. It was something that, you think you like. I've had a million jobs, especially like being laid off so many
Sure.
times. That
Sure.
was one of the things that's driven me to is like, man, I'm in another orientation and they're giving me three shirts. I know how much this costs to make, and I
Mm-hmm.
know how much you can ink a deal for something like that, and how long it takes to produce them.
Okay.
So now for me, it's like I like making clothes. I don't necessarily like selling them. So it's like
Mm.
one of those things where I love making new things.
Okay.
That's the type of person I am. I like working with my hands. I like being able to learn how to do stuff as
Sure.
far as like design and everything like that.
Okay.
I like the space in it, but I wanted to find another way to try and make money from it to
Okay.
kind of fuel it. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm actually kind of backpacking my way up the hill into the manufacturing business.
Okay.
I want to become like a wholesaler on my end because I see how it is over here in Dallas, over in Harry Hines, even back home in Houston. Like we had an area for that as well, like a whole wholesale district.
Okay.
And then even when I took a trip to LA a few years ago, I went and I saw what their wholesale district looks like.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, we could use a couple more hands on deck for this.
Okay.
So I'm like, it's a whole lane open for people. It's like everybody's thinking, all right, I want to make a clothing business or something like that. I saw somebody say it's like the rap game. Everybody's getting in, it's getting diluted. Okay, we'll find your niche in it.
That's absolutely right. And I will tell you, I have to say that when you showed up and I see this shirt, uh, it looks like a really amazing quality. And I don't know like what the thread count on it is, but I mean, it looks. And then it's threaded like your is that your brand?
Mhm.
Okay, so threaded is a brand. A very nice shirt, just a simple T-shirt, but really good quality, like high quality shirt and it immediately I was drawn to it. I'm like, wow, where did you get that shirt from? Because like, I want to I want to go buy one, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's very nice. That's a
thank you.
very nice quality shirt. I was like, okay, threaded. Okay, guys, hey, threaded is the shirt. It's the brand of the shirt. Okay, so do you have any like any other apparel that you do that you
um,
considering?
I've done a little bit of everything like hats, shorts, sweatpants, socks, pretty much a whole line for the most part. Like I said, I've been doing it for a little while. But due to like working things like that, at
Sure,
times I gotta take time off from it.
sure,
It
yeah.
sucks because a lot of times people talk like, "Hey, like still looking," but at times it'd be like, "Man, kind of like an overwhelming feeling almost." Like I used to have a partner, then we split. Then it's just like it's different when you gotta wear every single hat.
It is. And it's hard when you have to depend on somebody else too, because they may not have
Hmm.
like the same vision that you've got, but don't have the same passion or drive, obviously.
Hmm.
But I don't think you should discontinue making or manufacturing your
Yeah.
clothing line because I could see this being a thing.
Mhm.
Like, do you have like an online presence for it?
Yeah, it's threaded.world on Instagram.
Okay.
Right now, I'm actually taking some time to redo my website again.
Okay.
Just because I'm kind of like how to put it, kind of like a perfectionist with it. So it's like I had it up for a while, my whole shop and everything, but I brought it back down because I'm like, nah, like I have some ideas for it that I won't be satisfied till I actually get them out all the
Yeah.
way.
Okay.
So I'm just taking the time to do that as far as that, but definitely on threaded.world,
Okay.
on Instagram, I update, well, Meta, sorry, I update it there like that. Every once in a while, I'll throw some quick shock drop type gear on there. Easy to just DM or hit up
Okay.
the link on there whenever it's active and just get some from there.
Okay. So repeat the site, the Instagram.
Threaded.world. So like the dot is period.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. Cool. Wow, that's exciting. Yeah, I really love this shirt. I do. Guys, I know you can't see this shirt, but it's amazing, and it's so simple. It is such a simple high thread count T-shirt, but I like it. So I would love to see that in like some joggers,
Exactly.
maybe a fanny pack, a really nice ball cap. You
Oh
know.
yeah, I actually had made this one for St. Patty's Day. Like literally went by the store, picked up a blank for it, came up with a quick design because it had some on the back strictly for St. Patty's Day too. So I went out
Okay.
with some friends and everything. It was a cool time
He was like, but we won't get into that.
though.
It was a cool time. That's so awesome. Okay, so with having all these business ideas, like, and having an obviously
Mhm.
a mind for business, do you feel like there's another path you would have taken outside of business and possibly law, but it was still business law?
Mhm. Oh yeah, I would have rocked out with business law for sure, just because I do see how much lawyers make. I see the structure to their business. It's kind of funny because I like to argue and debate like sports and things,
Okay.
but I just really like to argue facts. So like what they say in court,
Yeah.
it's not what you doing or whatever. It's like whatever. It's not what you say. It's what you can
Yeah.
prove.
Absolutely.
So I feel like in the essence of business, especially, it's more so like things are not necessarily so cut and dry at times, but it's all about what you put on paper
Yeah.
or what you say on video, or you know how today's day goes.
Yeah.
But in essence, it's like it'd be cool to just kind of mess around in the business law space because a lot of businesses need protecting, especially with like dealing with smaller
Mhm.
businesses. I think that's the space I kind of would have dealt with because in today's economy, we see a lot of people, a lot of businesses going out. So a lot of people put their minds, their heart, soul into that. So it's like when I
And
think
money.
of it, I think of like the whole Enron thing back in the
Oh
day.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people lost their lives behind that. This is like a lot of people lost their homes, all type
Yep.
of things, and we see that more prevalent today.
You do.
So this is like just being able to create some spaces for businesses to kind of like, or at least people to fall back on. It was like, all right, like, do I have a case here? Like, did I get wrong here? Like, what else should I have done here? Because those type of things affect lives.
But they do a lot more than people realize, and I
Hmm.
like the point that you made about about people going into businesses and losing the businesses because of, I think a lot of it is just a lack of knowledge, right?
Hmm.
And so you have some professionals out there that
Oh
will
yeah,
take full advantage of somebody's lack of knowledge,
yeah.
and it's unfortunate. It's a whole market of that for that in itself,
Oh yeah, exactly.
you know.
Like for instance, I'll take you through one real quick. Think of debt.
Okay.
So personal debt, right?
Okay.
I see the whole analogy behind the shark, right? Is shark infested waters. I actually have a tattoo on
Yeah.
my forearm for
Oh.
that. So like the way I think of personal debt, especially like say when you owe a debt for a bill,
Okay.
they'll send that off or they'll sell it pennies to a dollar to a debt collection agency. You start getting all these phone calls over and over, different tactics. I've seen it where they threaten to sue you and everything, even under weird grounds, right? Um, Things like this, they happen to businesses too. So they happen on a personal level as well. And they affect your credit, all types of levels, right?
Sure.
So with this is a way that you can help a person like keep those sharks off of them, keep their life together, at least help get it
Oh.
straightened back out. Because you're getting constant badgered and everything like that just off small debt companies that literally all you gotta do is send an email, not an email, but send out a
A
letter and
letter.
everything, cease and desist,
Mm-hmm.
this and that, from based on these articles, these laws that people don't really know, and boom, you have that actually wiped off your credit. And that pretty much breaks down the whole credit clearing agency scheme that a lot of people do right now on helping clean up your credit, quote unquote.
Well, see, thank you for that piece of free wealth. I mean,
Hmm.
because how many people out there don't know that?
Oh yeah, it's a few things. I actually read up on a few of the things myself. I'm not as privy to like the full foreign law
Sure.
myself right now. But for instance, like if your information doesn't match between the various credit bureaus, correction, the agencies of the bureaus, you can actually send out letters to go ahead and get that taken off because that's one of the laws. At least from what I've read, is the information has to match between all three. So if the amount that says owed, you get to send that letter. Same way is when a company or collections agency, quote
Hmm.
unquote, contacts you about your credit, and you don't technically owe that company in itself. But yeah, you don't really owe that company in itself, so they have to be able to produce like legal paperwork stating you entered into a binding contract necessarily with that company.
Wow. Wow.
Different little pieces. But again, I circle back to, do you really need to go to college to actually have success? Because these are things I learned from myself outside of a college degree, just 30 minutes on YouTube. And hey, you remember how I said somebody could start a business off this?
As I remember.
Yeah, I know you see that a lot these days.
There, yes, there's so much. So like, and again, there's so many opportunities, and but I do feel like you have to have, there's a starting place,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And there's got to be like that little seed somewhere, because you can't just wake up and decide, okay, I'm gonna go into business law, or I'm gonna go read a book on business. Like, there's got to be something that's motivating you to be able to go in one direction or another. And I think that with everything that you've done at this point, and again, very young, I feel like I think you do well as like business
Mhm.
consultation, because I don't feel like you'd be dishonest about something. And it's like you're not gonna really gain anything by getting into that business and then leading somebody the wrong way, because whatever your fee is what they're gonna pay you regardless.
Exactly.
Right? So you don't, once they're done with you, then you're not gonna reap any additional benefits.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you should definitely consider that alongside your threaded brand and um business law.
Hey, I mean, the whole goal really is to, right now it's like a full multimedia agency, so I put my hand in a little bit of all pots, all types of hats.
Sure.
So we're going to be some digital marketing, helping companies build their digital presence, social media, all type of things like that. But on the other end, also helping you produce the textile stuff, the stuff that actually goes in a person's hand, because
Mm.
it's a difference. Like when you wake up in the morning, you're trying to decide what I want to wear, and you see that threaded tee hanging in your closet. You're like, man, now you're walking down the street getting compliments. Same thing is with the digital media. You're scrolling down your timeline, and now you see an ad for your brand that that, that world actually helped you create.
That
So I like to put my hand in a little bit of every aspect because what's better than making money even when you're not really paying attention to it?
right. Exactly. And they talk about the whole seven streams of income, and I think
Hmm.
that's something that everybody should work towards, right? Even if it's just a little bit here and there, right? $100 from this place, hundred
Yep.
dollars from that place, 500 from wherever, 900 from wherever. But it's like you look at that stuff and it accumulates, especially if you can just sit it aside.
Oh yeah.
Like that's the best feeling, and I think that's an amazing accomplishment. And I feel like you should maybe write a book on how to create those streams. Think about
Oh,
it. Do like a, just with whatever, just with whatever uh education you've got about it, a little bit of, throw a little bit of YouTube in there.
hey, I'm telling you, YouTube make the money.
YouTube is making the money. They're making the money.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
they're doing it. So this is not, it's not an ad for YouTube.
It's not an ad for YouTube. YouTube, you gotta cut that check. Tap in, YouTube.
Oh my goodness. So what do you so do you think you'd be interested in working with, like, collaborating with other people that are interested in creating a line?
Oh yeah, I'm in the middle of trying to put together a team right now. Kind of go into it because, like I said, like after splitting with my partner, it's just like we good. We standing 10 toes down over here at all times. Once I know that we soldier, but you do get to, anytime you get older, you go ahead and reflect and you learn new things. I see what it is to like wear every single hat in the business.
Right.
is like just like if you're in any relationship, if you feel like you're doing so much and then now that relationship is ended and now it's just you taking on every single bill,
Hmm.
every single thing for it, all the responsibility falls back on you.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm cool with that. Don't get it twisted. I stand firm at all times, but being able to lean on teams
Sure.
and even being able to just bounce ideas off each other, it's
Yeah.
really a healthy situation for the both. And it actually goes in and helps the business thrive
I
because
agree.
no business thrives just off one person just making every single decision. That breeds conflict, in my opinion. You gotta be able to take criticism, give it out, but also come to a concise decision together.
Right.
And that's what really makes the team work, like dream work.
I agree. I agree. That was very nicely said. And I think that with having that type of mentality, I feel like there's gonna be somebody out there who's gonna be willing to come on board. But of course, this can't be anybody, right?
Nah,
But there's gonna be somebody out there that's gonna be willing to come on board and help to see the rest of this vision through.
exactly.
Yeah, I do. So I wouldn't even know where you'd find somebody other than having a conversation. You know?
Um, it's really tough. I mean, to be honest, I have some friends in the space. I kind of keep my eyes open at all times. It's like I do me, but I'm sitting back watching you to see either
Mm-hmm.
what I should do or what not to do. And I have some friends where it's like I really do appreciate the kind of the hunger they walk with, well, the
Okay.
hunger that they have, the way that they walk, the way that they do things, pretty much the way that they operate and do the things that they do in the spaces,
Okay.
even if it's not necessarily in this one or in
Okay.
any walk that I see. I have some friends that is like not counting pockets or anything, but they're doing good for themselves seriously, and it's like I could take a little piece of what you're doing and apply it here. So
Sure.
it's like if I see people that kind of like sponges like that, kind of want to be creative, learn good. Like I have some friends that do graphic design. I
Nice.
watched them sit on my couch and actually learn that skill in 6 months. Literally, he actually made my first, not my first logo, but like one of my first logos for this.
Wow.
Seriously, and he's cool. His name's Doug. Shout out Doug.
Hey, Doug.
Uh, it's 92 Designs. He's cold, but literally, like I watched him get cold at this in 6 months, and like when I say I sit back and I watch what people do,
Yeah.
that's the type of appreciation you gain from somebody seeing them stick with their craft. That's the type of person I want to do business with because I know he's serious about what he does, the same way I
Absolutely.
am.
Absolutely.
But even there is just like being able to take that appreciation out just for other people, the way that they're doing things, I feel like that's what helps a team really thrive. You have to be able to appreciate any of your team or anybody around you, like what they're doing, because you don't know what that person's going through, and the fact they're taking time out to learn this skill, even have an interest in it, that's crazy to me.
Yeah. And do you feel like with you being a man, do you
Hmm?
feel like that's something that comes easy to you? Like some people are just kind of like I don't want to claim that I got
Man, no,
inspiration from. Yeah.
I don't feel like that at all. I feel like really with today's the way today is,
Mm-hmm.
it's tough for people to give not necessarily people their flowers, but like just tell people or at least just show that you've been influenced by others. Because I'm one that does feel like being self-made is like, yeah, that's a huge trait for me. I feel like that at times, but you still gotta acknowledge when you get something from other people, man.
Right, I do. I agree with that, and that's why I was asking. I
Mm-hmm.
know a lot of times it's difficult for men to admit to things like that because it's like you have to be a man and you have to everything has to be your own idea and you have to make yourself and all these
Mm-hmm.
things. And it's just like why is it that it's so difficult or a challenge for you to say, yes, my dad was an influence to me,
Mm-hmm.
or my grandpa was an influence to
Mm-hmm.
me, or my best friend growing up, I watched what he did and he influenced me in this way. Right? It doesn't have to be your own idea. It doesn't make you less of a creative or less of a professional or less of a career man or any of
Yeah.
that. Right? It's just like just give it. And I really hate the phrase giving people their flowers. I'm like, what flowers are we giving you? Right? I know it's just it's an expression and it's something that I'm like, where did this come from and who did it come from? But I do understand what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
But it's that's good that you're able to
Mm-hmm.
not be so into you that you can't see beyond you.
I mean, for me, it's like I feel like I had a friend in middle school, right? So my understanding of the phrase giving somebody their flowers is waiting till too long to tell them like what they did. It's like putting the flowers on the grave. So the way that I've always applied it is like the friend that I had that passed away like when we were young, like I think it was like late middle it was like freshman year in high school, two different schools. But heard what happened, everything to him. It was tough. RP Darius. One of the
Yeah.
coldest kids I knew at football at the time, and even with that, it's just like man, he kind of helped like instill. I was always a competitor, but the way he competed was crazy. So not to say like mama mentality or nothing, but it's just like to see that type of tenacity at times. Like I seen him get hurt in the middle of a game, still trying to play through it. I mean,
Man.
crazy crackback in football. Yeah, this is
Wow.
like 2000s football we talking about.
Right,
But
right.
even then, it's just like,
Wow. What are you able
mm,
to say what happened to Darius?
I don't really want to touch on it, but that's why I have this appreciation for like life every single day. Just because, like, yeah, I'm getting close to 30 right now. Like, I'm pretty much 30, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it's like I don't know if I'm gonna make it to 30 necessarily. Just gotta say it's right there.
Right.
It might not be God's plan.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
that's why every day I don't want somebody walk around and think you don't know who's looking at you or whatever, who's taking notice of what you're doing and they're applying it, and you don't know how somebody else feels about you. So I feel
Absolutely.
like at times it's good to let people know,
I think.
like, hey, I like what you did, even if it wasn't for me. I like how you doing for yourself.
Yeah. I think that those are signs or examples of somebody who's secure with themselves.
Oh yeah.
Because there's no reason why we shouldn't be out there telling somebody, hey, not that people are looking to hear good
Hmm.
job or I saw what you did over here and over there, but I think that that's something that it shows a huge sense of just self security, and there's nothing wrong with it. So
Hundred
good job,
percent.
good job. Okay, MJ. So you are currently got a couple things going on in your life,
Hmm.
or maybe three or four. But if there was one thing outside of what you've mentioned, if there's anything that you would have done differently or would have chosen to do career wise, what would it be? Or actually, that's two questions.
Hmm.
That's two questions. So, if there's anything outside of your whole life span that you would have done differently, what would it have been, if anything?
Oh, one thing for sure is kept playing basketball when I was in high school. I see what they're making these days just to go overseas. I would have kept that up. But even on the side of that, man, to be honest, I have a want for it. I'm just trying to figure out like what would be the best time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But be a pilot. I have a love for like flying. Like just the thought of being a pilot is super cool to me. So it's like even when I finished school, literally like I want to say a year after I graduated, I went to Stephen F. Austin State University in Nacogdoches.
Mm-hmm.
A year later, they brought in a pilot program.
Gosh.
You see what I mean when I say like when you get to thinking back on the options you
Mm-hmm.
could have had. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy in hindsight,
Yeah.
but that's definitely something where it's like when I say there are other avenues, you just got to take the time to really look. That time span between when you walk the stage in high school, I'm not gonna even bring up college.
Sure.
When you walk across the stage in high school till when life actually hits you, it's right there at the other end of that stage, guaranteed. You gonna walk off, you're like, man, I did it, and then you're thinking, wait a minute, hold on, what's next though? Some people have it figured out, and
Yeah.
some do not.
More do not.
Yeah.
More do not, and and that's fine, right? Everybody's gonna do life differently. But if you so okay, so you would have been a pilot.
Hmm.
All right. Well, you actually answered both of those questions there. So you would have been a pilot, and you would have stayed playing basketball.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh. Well, you can still be a pilot. Just get in a pilot's program. I bet they have like a lot of hours though, like thousands of hours.
You can actually get them. You can actually accumulate them though, like just being a flight instructor.
Yeah,
So like
that's right.
after you do, yeah, I was looking into it, but money.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me
Yeah.
pay off these loans I got
Yes.
right now. You good? I'm gonna get out here like Franklin Saint, not the drugs, y'all, not the drugs, but being able to fly my own plane. I do have a business idea for that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You got to
Hmm.
keep that creativity burning. And I
Hmm.
think once you're somebody who has like a business mind, and once you're somebody who is like a creative,
Hmm.
there's nothing that's a limit, because
Right.
your brain is always working like constantly. So you're always thinking about, not necessarily just to get rich, but you're always thinking of what can be better about what you're doing. What
Yeah.
can I do aside from what I'm already doing? So I think it's exciting. It's fun part, and I can't
Yeah.
wait to see what you're gonna do. Right, it's gonna be something I'm sure in the future, maybe even tomorrow. You
Oh
know,
yeah, we're working it.
yeah. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what this is gonna be, and I can't wait to buy a shirt. So I'm gonna have to put my order in on
Gotcha.
on
It's threaded dot
threaded
world.
threaded dot world. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, we're gonna get that. All right. Hey guys, this has been Mr. MJ. And MJ, before we wrap it up, is there any piece of advice, anything you'd like to add to your story?
Um, just keep your head up out there, people. Hey, you never know who's gonna open up for a door for you. You don't know who you're gonna meet one day.
Mhm.
I went to work one day. Now I'm made on podcast. Hey, you never know.
You never know. You never know. Hey guys, this has been once again the Blind Impact. Today's guest has been MJ. We thank you so much for being supportive and listening. And if you also like to send in a story that you'd like to have me read or
Mhm.
share, you can also just email me at the gmail.com, and also visit the website, theblindimpact.com. And remember, it's not always tragic. Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of The Blind Impact. If you like the show, please rate, subscribe, review, follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. If you have a story you'd like to tell, please email me at theblindimpact@gmail.com. Or if you have a story you'd like to have read here by me, please include those details in the email or the voice message. Thank y'all, and remember, it's not always tragic.